All right, with Ryan Heinrichs, the winning horror screenplay, Absence, but it's also sci-fi too, right? It's got a little more than a lot. What would you think? It's more of a sci-fi film or more of a horror film?
I would say it's a horror. It definitely has a lot of sci-fi elements to it. I would put that as like a secondary genre.
Because it has an alien invasion and a flying saucer and all that stuff, right? Alien probes, right?
Yeah, it's got a lot of good alien stuff in there.
So where did this idea come from you? It's well, give a pitch. How would you describe this film in a couple sentences?
So the log line is two school employees do a wellness check on a chronically absent student, um, accidentally uncovering a dark alien conspiracy to um, uh, that threatens the entire human race. So that's the log line. I got the idea basically because so I one of I have two jobs. One of my jobs is in education, um, and it's almost kind of like a truancy officer type of job where I'm reaching out to students that are falling behind and or that aren't coming to school, and basically just trying to keep them enrolled in school and making sure they can progress towards graduation. And so part of that job is doing uh, home visits where we'll go and just do like wellness checks, make sure students okay, see if they need anything like bus passes, stuff like that. So we do a lot of those home visits, and so the idea basically came from that, from home visits.
What state are you in?
California.
That seems like a pretty good idea. I'm assuming some parents don't like that invasion, though. I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, we've had a few situations where where it could have been a dangerous situation, or parents are angry that we're over there knocking on the door. That's happened a couple times. So that's basically where I was like, okay, so this could be, something scary could actually happen if while we're out on one of these visits.
Yeah, I bet.
I haven't had any run-ins with any aliens, but there definitely there's definitely a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, well, at the same time, you're doing what's best for the kids, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to is just trying to keep the kids enrolled in school and make sure they could progress towards graduation.
And how did you get? How did you get that job? Something you were pursuing to get to achieve?
I kind of just fell into that because I do security also. So I was doing security at the school for a few years, and I just got along really well with the staff and the principal, and she was always great to me. She offered me a job after a few years doing security. She offered me a job for the with the school.
And how did screenplay come into your life? Screenwriting come into your life?
So I've been addicted to horror films since I was a kid. My parents let me watch whatever I wanted when I was real little. I don't know if that's the best thing, but
Well, let me ask
it,
you that. Like, what if there you go to a wellness check and there's an 8-year-old watching a horror film? Is that a problem?
no, not a problem at all. I'd probably
Okay.
want to sit down there and watch it with them. Yeah,
You're
I
learning
love it. I love it.
storytelling, I guess, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so go
Um,
ahead. So I apologize. So you watch a lot of horror films as a kid.
yeah, and then so I played football for a long time, and you have a very small window to play football. So, when that ended in my 20s, I wanted to find something else that I really loved, and I kind of went back to things that I loved when I was a kid, and there was always movies. So, and when I first started writing, like 10 years ago. I was thinking, there's not a lot of great horror movies that I feel are great, that are coming out, like new stuff. A lot of stuff I watched is super old, 70s, 80s, 90s. So I was thinking, okay, I think I could write something really good. And that's how I started.
So you made it to your 20s playing football. Were you playing like I'm assuming you're playing university football?
I played at City College at Fresno City for a little bit.
That's like
Um,
Division two or Division, like what was that?
oh yeah, junior college.
Okay.
This is junior college. Um,
Like were you
and then
trying to get a scholarship? Is that like the thing? You play there to get noticed to get a scholarship?
yeah, I was trying to at the time I was hoping to get a transfer to a 4 year
Yeah.
um, and scholarship. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't.
Hey, listen, that's what Josh Allen did that, right? I think even Aaron Rodgers did that. Two great quarterbacks of all time, right? So
Yeah. You know what? Josh Allen's right down the street from me, kind of not down the street, but I'm in Fresno, and he's from Fireball, so
well,
that's like a 20-minute drive.
well, where I come, I'm from Niagara Falls, right? So where I come
Okay.
from, he's like we like him an awful lot. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. I on that side of the country for sure. He's got a huge fan base.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, yeah, we he just yeah. Let's hope that he gets what he deserves and gets it and raises that Lombardi trophy one day. So
yeah, I played with the Kendricks brothers
okay,
um, in at Hoover High School. So Eric Kendricks, he just played with the Niners last season.
yeah,
He's a linebacker with the 49ers.
that's close to you,
Um,
I guess, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
your
definitely.
rooting team? I guess people from where you come from root for the Niners.
Yeah, well, I'm a Raider fan, but
Oh, because Oakland when they were in, but you're young, right?
yeah, and I still I root for the California teams usually.
Yeah. What position did you play?
I played linebacker and defensive end.
Okay, so you're like an outside linebacker and end,
Yep,
going
yep,
after the quarterback.
yep.
Were you too like too small to be an end and too big to be a linebacker? Like were you?
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually at Fresno City, I was uh, I was too big to play linebacker, so they moved me to defensive end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. For some reason, I saw that I put two and two together. So
yeah. No, that's a good call. That's exactly what happened when I went to junior college. When I was in high school, they wanted me to play receiver because I was tall and thin.
yeah.
But I've always been a natural linebacker.
Would you ever consider coaching, like in the future? Or
I looked into it before, and I'm so passionate about playing that it was really hard to coach.
yeah, I could see it in your face, right? Like it's something that no, but it's really interesting. That's a good story too, right? Where like I've talked to some people like who are like trying to make it for baseball players. They didn't get past double A, right? And they love the game, but then there's a sadness to it, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big component in trying to figure out if I wanted to coach or
Yeah.
not. And I wanted to because the passion's still there, but not being able to play is like heartbreaking.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it's like it happens with dancers, it happens to a lot like you know what I mean? Like listen, it's like only certain percentage can get to the NFL. It's like
Yeah, very small percentage, and then
very
that
small
window
percentage.
is tiny.
Yeah, there's a
So,
lot of luck too, right? Like not just talent, a lot of luck, like a lot you gotta be in the right opportunity and good coaching, right? So
oh yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of players that don't never make it to the league that are better than guys that are in the league, but
sure.
they just didn't get, it just wasn't in the cards for them, or they had some weird injury or something like that.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Injuries of course are a big deal. So you can't can you watch it on Sundays now or no? You-
Yeah, I do watch.
Yeah.
Even that was hard for a while, but
Yeah.
but I definitely watch. I couldn't like completely erase it from my life.
No. I mean, but then what I'm saying from a storytelling, you're a storyteller now. That's a good story, right? Like I think a lot of people can relate to that aspect where like, but the same that said, you can write forever. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. You can always write, right?
Yeah, that window's wide open for the rest of my
Yeah.
life, basically. So, yeah, I'm only 38, so I could write for a long time. Um, and actually, the football experiences have given me some good writing material too, because I'm working on this psychological horror about a football player with CTE. So
Oh,
that's
you're gonna go there. I thought that was something you can't talk about when you're a football player.
no, not when I was playing, but
Yeah,
definitely afterwards, and with all the stuff that has come out over the last decade or more,
yeah,
with concussions and a lot of those. I've had concussions too, and I had a post concussion syndrome before.
yeah.
Uh, it caused insomnia, and then the insomnia caused this episode where I was like seeing things and hearing things, almost like hallucinating, because I could not sleep for like, I think
Oh man,
it was almost a week that I could not sleep,
yeah.
and I had to see a neurologist and go through all that stuff, all because of the concussion.
Damn. It's one of those things too, because I played football as well, and it's like I love the game. I think it's a great game. I think there's a lot to learn in terms of like everybody like it's the old cliche where like 11 players, if one player screws up, the play's dead. It sucks, right? It doesn't matter how great the quarterback is.
Yeah,
And it's there's a good great analogy to life with that, right? Where like everybody, doesn't matter if you like them or dislike them, everybody's got to be a team, and then there's that bonding as well. That said, like it's a tough game. I don't know if I would play. If I would do it over again, I don't know if I would play again, right? Because it's
yeah,
like it can get dangerous.
yeah. It can be totally dangerous. If I had a chance to do it again, I think I would play again.
Yeah, but you know
I
what's happening now, right? It's the what do you call it? The flag football is coming huge. It's like it's the biggest growing sport in the states right now. It's even coming up in
Yeah,
Canada right now. People are good leagues are popping up in Canada as well. So like there, it's going to be like I'm not saying that the NFL is going to turn into a flag football league, but you can see that the wide receivers from the last like 15 years who played flag football, it didn't really start playing tackle football until high school. You can see their what they learned from play football, right? Like
yeah,
these
for
wide
sure.
receivers are amazing now, right? And they credit play football for that skill set.
Yeah, for sure. And you could do that for a long time, when there's, not as much, it's not as violent.
Yeah, and they're protecting the obviously the lead the skill players a lot. Like the quarterback obviously is getting protected. Like nobody wants to see, as we mentioned, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes get hurt, right? Like they're the league, and even as wide receivers. So it's going to get scaled back. You're going to see that it's even happening now, right? Like we want to see fantastic athletes. We don't want to see smashing helmets, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we don't want to see those devastating injuries,
Yeah,
career-ending injuries. It's a lot more entertaining when high scoring and
yeah.
less injuries,
But
basically.
they're worried about the next generation. They want they because the great athletes they want them to play football. They don't want them to play basketball or baseball, right? So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
football's
sorry about
definitely
that. Let's
entertaining
get
anyway.
back to your script. So when did you decide you wanted to start writing? Do you remember where you were? What was happening?
I think, you know, I yeah, I think it was, I think it was around like 2010. It was around the time that my daughter was born, 2010, when I
Okay.
decided that I wasn't going to pursue football anymore. Um, and yeah, I don't want to, I don't remember which movie it was. I don't want to put them on blast, the, the movie it was. I think it might have been like the first Sharknado or something.
Okay.
And I was like, what is going on in Hollywood? I got to write something. And I think it started from like seeing some movie in the theater it was terrible. And
Okay.
I'm like, how is this happening? And so that's kind of how I started. And horror was always my favorite, so it was natural to just start that. And um, I actually started with like reading. I downloaded a few of my favorite movies, the screenplays, and kind of taught myself how it's formatted, how a professional screenplays should look. especially ones that were already successful. So that's how I kind of started was reading them.
Gotcha. And then when did you start? Do you remember when you first started writing, putting pen to paper or a computer to keyboard and started writing a script?
Yeah, yeah. When I first started, I was obviously very green, and so it was difficult at first. It took me a long time to complete a feature length screenplay. Um, the first couple years that I was doing it, it was random times like every other week I would get some random times where I write a couple pages. And then eventually, after a couple years, I just got better at it, and I utilized Coverfly. Um, that was like a third party website.
Yeah, it's not
For
here. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, it shut
Yeah,
down. I think last fall.
because the people who bought Film Freeway bought Coverfly and they just decided just to keep Film Freeway and
Yeah,
yeah,
so there's that, and then but that was a big part of me learning how to
gotcha.
write screenplays. Is on Coverfly you could get feedback from different companies like Screencraft
Yeah.
or company short scripts, and that was a big help for me. Was sending my work to somebody and them kind of like pointing things out and showing me things. And after a few times doing that, I was able to finally complete one. And after I completed that first one, I completed like another five over the next couple years after that.
Wow. So that you got that discipline, right? Like you kind of figured it out, kind of certain formulas and certain kind of like it's the first one, it's always the hardest, right? Getting that done.
Yeah, definitely. I started in like 2010, and the my first completed screenplay was 2022. So, so that's like 12 years of, you know, it was part time, so I'm not writing all the time.
Yeah.
It's random times, but since about 2020, since COVID, um, that's where I've really been putting in a bunch of time. So since about 2020, I've been writing a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. Like that was COVID did a lot of good stuff for creative people. So gave you
Yeah,
that time. There's no excuses anymore, right?
yeah, yeah. Especially so for me specifically, I was doing security at the school, and with COVID closing the school down, I was
Yeah.
fortunate that they allowed me to continue going to work, and there were no kids there. I was basically watching an empty building, and so some of that time I was able to just sit down and write. And
Did anything happen during that time? Did anybody try to break in or
no,
kids
no,
running
no,
around?
no, it was very boring. It was a ghost town there, so I helped out the staff a little bit with some things, but other than that, there was nothing for me to do for a few hours every day. So um, that was a big part of me finishing my first script was being able to sit down and write.
That's cool. That's great. So it seems like you got a lot to jump off. I'm assuming you got a lot of inspiration. Being a security guard at school, there's like I'm sure there's lots of stories to tell there too, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I've been doing security since I was 18. Right out of high school, I started doing security.
Yeah.
Um, so I have a ton of experience doing security and different scenarios because I've been a bouncer, I've been security at a mall, and I've done all the shifts. I do right now. I My second job is I do security overnight. So, and that's basically just watching an empty building too. Um,
I did that job. That was a fun job.
yeah, so that's, and at the place where I'm at, I'm always hearing things and I'm like, I'm the only one there,
Yeah.
but there's always, little noises and things that sounds like footsteps. And people say the place is haunted.
Yeah. The only issue with that, I remember I used to have to call at the top of every hour. You got to call someone and say and check in. Just so
Yeah.
just to check in, you have to follow because obviously people are going to fall asleep, right? So
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. Actually, yeah, my supervisor, he calls and checks randomly to make sure I'm still awake.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he's probably sleeping, wakes up at 3 o'clock, go to the washroom. He's like, oh, I might as well call him, right? See if he's up, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, no, those were good jobs because it's like you get to be with yourself and kind of do your own thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, I get a ton of freedom. So
Yeah.
that's another time where I get to kind of like I'm reading right now. I'm adapting one of my screenplays to a novel and writing my first novel. And so I'm reading a couple of books while I'm at work, just to kind of immerse myself in this Vietnam, in the Vietnam era, because that's the book I'm working on.
You're working on right now?
Yeah, so the first screenplay I ever wrote was Nam. It's called Nam, and the log line is um, facing certain death in Vietnam. A group of Marines strike a deal with a witch to make it out alive, with horrific consequences. So that's the log line. That's the first script I wrote. It got a ton of attention. I won the 2022 Horror Origins screenplay contest with that screenplay. Um, and it still gets a ton of attention. I'm still pushing it on Inktip and ISA, Film Freeway, um, and anyway, so the screenplay is awesome, and everybody loved it. But I I kind of like want to get back into that, and so I thought maybe writing the novel of it, could help push the screenplay also, and maybe get it some attention where it wouldn't get attention before.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. I wish you the best of success with it. Just keep writing, and yeah, we're honored to show this script at your at our festival, and let's talk again when we showcase another film of script of yours. It seems like you're in a good place.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. It was the the prize was awesome. The acting out the scene from Absent,
Yeah,
that was awesome. It was really cool to see. I was sending it to everybody. So yeah, I think something's on the horizon, something coming up.
yeah. Well, good for you, man. Like, just keep plugging away. That's the one thing you learn about when you do sports, right? It's just like grind it away. Discipline. You got to keep at it every day. You got to work out and you got to do your drills and can't stop, right? Same thing with writing. You got to keep at it, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Can't give up. Got to keep. It sounds corny, but that's what I tell a lot of people that. Um,
It's just grind it out. That's basically what it's all about, right?
right, right. When I started, like I said, I couldn't even finish a screenplay for years. I definitely couldn't get anybody to read it. And now, after what are we, 16 years now,
Yeah.
uh, now I have multiple screenplays that get read by production companies, and a couple of them were in consideration by a couple of production companies, but nobody's bit yet.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's coming.
All right, man. So let's talk again when we showcase another script of yours.
Awesome. That sounds good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.